China is quickly becoming one of the biggest forces shaping the global silver market. Its Ministry of Commerce has tightened export licensing on refined silver, meaning only a select few state-approved companies can ship it overseas. China is also restricting sulfuric acid exports, which is a huge problem because that slows copper mining, and a lot of silver is a byproduct of copper mining. And at the same time, the United States has added silver to its critical minerals list. That puts silver directly into the national security conversation, which could lead to tighter domestic supply and building strategic stockpiles. So now we have China limiting global supply of silver while the United States is trying to get more of it. And all of this is happening while demand is outpacing production and the market remains in a serious structural deficit. So the article we're going to be breaking down today with all of this information is called Why Silver Prices Could Surge. China Curbs Meets US Stockpile Push. It's going to be a good one. You're going to want to stick all the way through, so grab some popcorn and let's go.
The new AG47 apparel drop is live. We've got shirts, hats, mugs, mouse pads, and bordered pieces, and a bunch of bold new designs made for silver stackers. The quality is amazing. The designs look sharp, and this drop has something for everyone. Use code SLAYER47 at checkout for 15% off your order for a limited time. That's Slayer47 for 15% off. Go check out the new AG47 apparel drop and grab your favorites while they're still available.
Man, oh man, folks, do I have a good video today. The article that we're going to be breaking down is from FX Leaders that came out today, Friday, July 10th. The title of the article is Why Silver Prices Could Surge, China Curbs Meet US Stockpile Push. And they went in. There's a plethora of different things that they're covering that's all extremely important and bullish for silver on the global scale, from China's export ban to China's sulfuric acid ban, which hurts copper mining, which hurts silver because silver is a byproduct of copper mining, and the strategic stockpile push. And it's a lot, plus more, and it's all stuff that you really should be thinking about beyond just the day-to-day price volatility. Now, silver still has held above $60, which means I do think now it's official. I still could be wrong, but in my opinion, it really solidifies that the bottom was 58, because we went from 63 down to 57, and then it held its ground at 57, broke back above 60. I think went to like 61, and then from the news of the stuff that's happening overseas, that brought it back down to 58. And then that's when I said 2 days ago, this is the final test, because if this is where we're going to find out what's going to happen with silver, because if it breaks below 58, things could get really ugly. But if it goes back above 60, that means two different times it had a chance to break below 58, but it didn't, which means now there's a lot of support at that price. And if we break above 60 again, that is a lot of support. It means that a lot of people are buying right there, and I think 58's the bottom. Well, that exact thing happened yesterday. Instead of going below and going really low, which the next would have been probably $55, which would have been the next bottom. Instead, it went back up above 60, the psychological level. So right now, I do think silver's the bottom is $58. And since we know that, then that means these might be the lowest prices we'll ever see again, or for a while, which also means you should be taking advantage of these prices and buying. So anyways, yeah, that's my little recap and thoughts on what's happening right now. But now let's go into the deeper stuff, the macro, the stuff that I personally really like talking about, because that's where silver's true value truly lies, not the day-to-day interest rates or the dollar strength. I don't care about that stuff. That's the same stuff that pushes gold up and down. I'm talking, I like silver because silver has unique properties far beyond gold. So, China's Ministry of Commerce introduced strict export licensing on refined silver, limiting permissions to a tight list of state-approved high-volume entities. And this was in on January 1st they did this. Then a couple months later, they banned sulfuric acid. I interviewed Ian Harris, which is the CEO of Copper Giant. So I literally interviewed the CEO of one of the biggest copper mining companies, and he is a mining engineer, which means his job is literally to get it out of the ground. He's not these guys that just do whatever. He actually gets the stuff out of the ground. I interviewed him multiple times on this channel now, good friend of mine. But I brought that sulfuric acid stuff up to him and I said, does this affect copper mining? And he said, yes, this will hurt the silver, I guess, the deficit, and it will hurt production, because if this goes even farther, it really could. Now, so the sulfuric acid is used for a completely different reason than I thought, but needless to say that this is China kind of cutting off the rest of the world and keeping it all to themselves, while the rest of the world needs it and wants it more than ever, even for national security purposes. So, the export ban on sulfuric acid complements these controls, indirectly affecting global silver output by choking off copper processing. The U.S. Geological Survey has added silver to its official critical minerals list, prompting national security trade laws due to resilience on imported silver. And not only are we talking about silver added to the critical minerals list, which is a national security trade law or whatever, it's also coming from the Silver Act that recently passed. It's the System Integrity Through License Vault Expansion and Resilience Act. I think it's HR 8007 is the bill, and that is going after the COMEX, because all of the silver vaults in America are all within the New York COMEX, or a 150-mile radius, and they're like, what happens if there's something wrong with the COMEX or that area, or there's like a storm or whatever, national, a natural disaster? That's dangerous because all of our physical silver is stored in the vaults right there. Why aren't there vaults approved in California and Florida? Why is it all straight in the New York COMEX? That's what, Congress is basically saying. So now they're going to approve more vaults all over the United States. And they're saying that is a national security risk for all of the vaults to be right there in one area. So anyways, that's what the Silver Act is. So we have that national security aspect of it, but also the U.S. Geological Survey adding it to its official critical minerals list. I think it was late last year they did that. I think it was early this year when it passed, but it was late last year when we were finding out. I don't remember, but it is official now. So, despite recent market fluctuations, the silver market faces a significant supply deficit, with demand consistently outpacing supply. So let's go into this. China's Ministry of Commerce introduced strict export licensing on refined silver, limiting permissions to a tight list of state-approved high-volume entities. Protect their domestic manufacturing base. China dominates global solar panel manufacturing and EV infrastructure because silver is the most electrically conductive metal on Earth. They cannot scale their green tech or advanced computing dominance without monopolizing the physical metal. To complement direct export limits, China implemented an export ban on sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is essential when chemical input used in heap leach copper mining, particularly in Chile, because roughly 70% of the world's silver is mined as a byproduct of copper, lead, and zinc, squeezing global copper processing naturally, and this chokes off Western silver output without China ever even having to touch a dedicated silver mine. So do you see how calculated this is? And then you have the USGS adding silver to the official critical minerals list. This wasn't just a symbolic title change, it triggered concrete legal and economic frameworks, which of course would be something like the Silver Act. Beyond commercial AI data centers, the military-industrial complex is entirely dependent for silver satellite communications, missile guidance systems, and advanced radar, plus weaponry. And so let's look at this from the perspective of the military, which stopped reporting their silver reserves in 1995, and the Department of Defense in 2001. That's the last time they stopped they reported any silver. And back then it was dwindling low, and that's why you had like the Coinage Act from Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965 saying all this, that there's a shortage. He's saying it back then, there's a shortage. We need to preserve our silver for just coins, because if we keep up this pace, we're gonna run out of silver, and we need it for, for critical things. And I mean, it stems all the way back till then. The military's involvement with silver goes back many, many decades, and it's pretty interesting when you look into the whole story of it. So, silver's underlying structural fundamentals remains remarkably robust despite the broader market shakeout that pulled silver down from its parabolic surge earlier this year, where it briefly touched the $121 mark. And then you have the most critical fundamental driver is the silver market in its 6th consecutive year of a structural supply deficit, record-breaking supply deficits, by the way, 46 to 67 million ounce shortage. And that's this year. Demand is flatly outstripping supply. Increasing silver production is notoriously difficult. Roughly 70% is mined as a byproduct of mining other metals like copper. Miners cannot simply turn up the tap or turn on the tap for silver just because prices are higher. There's very, very, very few silver mines. It's a topical metal, and a lot of it, the ore grades are down. There's a lot of like protesting at these mining sites now. It's pretty crazy. So think about that, right? We have a crazy amount of silver needed as we advance digitally, but production is plummeting, and there's no way to fix that. Maybe recycling, that wouldn't even put a small dent into the amount of silver we're needing. So you can see how this is going to get worse, and that's more bullish for silver. So yeah, there you have it. With that said, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I liked this article. They hit on the most important points of why silver still has value and why you should look past the immediate day-to-day pricing. I mean, there's a lot more than this, but that's I would say, like, the somewhat macro scale of what silver has working for it. There's also a much bigger one looking even further ahead, but like for the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of this is really what's going to keep silver higher instead of falling back down, even if there's other factors that would be hurting it or moving against it. We haven't even talked about COMEX corruption or any of that. Or anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
The silver market moves fast, but prices move even faster. Subscribe to Silver Slayer for daily updates.